All right, class. So today we are going to cover what happens when you take an acetal slash ketal, an imine or an inmine or enamine, and you expose it to aqueous acid. And what happens is you hydrolyze all of those species. So let's start with the acetal slash ketal. When you take an acetal slash ketal and you expose it to aqueous acid, remember it's the reverse of the acetal formation. And we know this is going to happen based on Le Chatelier's formation or Le Chatelier's principle. So I can take the acetal ketal in the presence of water and acid, and I can hydrolyze that to the ketone or aldehyde, depending on what you're starting with here, and 2 equivalents of the alcohol. This reaction only works in the presence of acid, though, and if you do it in base, nothing happens. So the way this reaction works, the way to kind of think about this is that it's essentially the reverse of what you did in terms of acetal formation. And it looks a lot like it looks a lot like an an SN1 reaction followed by a nucleophilic a, addition reaction, or the opposite of a nucleophilic addition reaction. So I guess it would be like an elimination reaction, an E2 kind of elimination reaction. So what's going to happen here is you have your acetal in the presence of acid. You're going to protonate the oxygen via a proton transfer. That's going to make this oxygen a good leaving group, so that molecule will leave as an alcohol. That alcohol leaving is assisted by a lone pair on this oxygen kicking down to remake this oxonium, which is very reactive toward nucleophilic attack. So water is going to attack the carbonyl of that oxonium to give you this intermediate here. The oxonium is now on the oxygen that came from water. You do another proton transfer to get you to the hemiacetal. You then do that process over again. You protonate the oxygen of the alkoxy group via a proton transfer. That turns that oxygen into an oxonium ion, which will leave. That's facilitated by the lone pair on the oxygen of the alcohol kicking down to make another oxonium, which is deprotonated to regenerate your acid and the ketone. The same kind of process happens if you take an imine or an enamine in the presence of water and a little bit of acid. They will hydrolyze to the corresponding carbonyl compound in the amine. And the mechanism is simply the reverse of the mechanisms for their formation. So I'm not going to go over them here now. So if you take an acetal, a ketal, an imine or an enamine and react in the presence of aqueous acid, you will hydrolyze those molecules to the corresponding carbonyl compound. All right, so that's it. Really short little section here. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks, and I will talk to you later.